Hey, what's up guys? My name is Moda and welcome back to the Mining Stacker YouTube channel. Today's video, we're going to talk about two new BTC ASICs coming from Bitmain. We're going to mainly be talking about the Antminer S21 Plus, which yes, yet another S21 model, and very briefly at the end talk about the S19 Pro Plus, which again with their stupid little naming moniker, that one we're briefly going to touch on because in reality that one does not matter. You'll see why when we talk about those specs. But we're going to focus on the S21 Plus. We'll talk about pricing, specs. We'll compare it to the other models to kind of see where it lands and just give our overall thoughts on BTC mining as a whole. All right, so if that sounds good, guys, stay tuned. Let's get right to this thing. So this thing was announced around the time of the hurricane stuff, so I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to much of anything. But here we go. So it is the S21 Plus. Delivery is going to be in Q1, Q2 of 2025, so expect it somewhere spring 2025. Key highlights here: 16.5 joules a terahash, so pretty good on the efficiency side. 216 terahash at about 35-64 watts. Okay, so spec wise, not too bad. The downfall is the shipping window, right? It's going to be Q1, Q2, so expect sometime March, April, May. What's going to happen around that time? Hopefully, we are going to get some good price action. Okay, as far as pricing goes, most of the retailers have it in the like $3,400–$3,500 range. So again, the downfall here is the wait for this thing. Okay, so pricing wise, it's not too bad. We're gonna have to wait to see kind of what chips and such are in it. We'll talk about it here in a second. But as far as profitability goes, again, at current profitability based on BTC's current price, this is at a 10-cent kilowatt hour. Your daily income, so your daily revenue is going to be about $11. After electric, though, $2.40 profit currently. So at least it is profitable. You have that going for you. But again, we're not worried about today's numbers. This is not going to come out to Q1, Q2 2025. Okay. So let's talk about kind of comparisons here. Okay. So the big standout, number one, is we can see the new power supply. And this is also going to be, it seems to be, this is going to be the new standard. Instead of it being like 2,800 to like 3,100 watts, $3,500 to $3,700 is going to be the staying point now, it seems. So again, it is rated at 3564, but we know that they've essentially been underreporting quite a bit. So expect a real world to be like 37, 3,800, which is a hefty unit. Okay. And again, for this like $3,500, $3,300 range and having to wait that amount of time, not super appealing. Let's compare it to the others though, just see how it stacks up. So when compared to the S21, the 200 terahash model, it is more efficient than this guy. This guy's 17.5. So you do have that benefit over that model. And then when we compare it to the S21 Pro, this is the 234 terahash model. This guy is more efficient. So this guy's at 15.09 joules a terahash. So it's somewhere in between. It's right in between both models here. So kind of my issue with it, number one, is the weight. Number two, realistically, I would be going for the S21 Pro, if anything, especially even if you compare it to the S21, like, okay, you know, maybe a better bang for the buck. The difference is the S21 Pro does have different chips. It is a newer set of chips. There is less chips per board. It is much more efficient. This one is truly more of an upgrade, especially in comparison to the S21. This is also one that has the new 140mm fans, the sleeker display, or not display, but the control board. This one does not have this display. It's the XP that does. But this one to me seems more of an upgrade. So as far as like what is actually going to be in this guy, we don't really know, right? And at this point, it's not a good enough of a deal to like wait out for it. Because for example, with the Pro, it's at $4,500 and it is a better unit. It is shipping now, it is available now, and it is something that we do know has the newer gen chips. Okay, so again, it's like an in-betweener between the S21 and the S21 Pro, but again, for that price point, it's not cheap enough for me to wait that long. Okay, at that point, it'd have to be like $2,500 or something of that sort, but realistically, I wouldn't be doing that. Okay. So some things to factor in, right, as far as we're looking at the overall issue of what's kind of going on with everything, is the fact that it's just they released pretty much a whole gen of the 21 series already in a year. Okay, it's not just something that's going on with like Caspa and some of these other ASIC models. It's ASICs just all around, specifically with Bitmain. It's just extremely weird. I mean, even when we compare it to, for example, comparing it with like the S19 series. Okay, the OG, the 95 terahash model came out April 2020. Arguably the last model was the S19 Pro. Okay, you can make the argument for the JXP, which to me was more of a kind of like a novelty release, or even worse so is the S19 Pro Plus Plus. But the last model, kind of in a sense, was the S19 Pro, March 2023. So you can see damn near about 3 years for them to kind of complete through all of their models, right? They had slight revisions, which were certain betters, right? We had the S19, the Pros, the Js, J Pros, etc., all the way to the XP. That was kind of the next bigger step, and it went from there, but it was a span of 3 years. Okay, notice the difference with the S21s. Okay, we went through a pretty similar generational jump with everything in less than a year, guys. Okay, the S21 literally came out January 2024, so it hasn't even been a year yet. Okay, so we had the S21, S21 Hydros, the T21, so we had the T variant, and then we went to the S21 Pros extremely fast, right? They didn't even finish shipping the initial batches, the later batches of the original S21 by the time the S21 Pro came out. And then right after, freaking the S21 XP. Okay, so we have S21, S21 Pro, S21 XP, and then all the immersion and hydro models, and then now the S21 Plus. All in under a year, guys. Okay, it's like extremely accelerated. So the thing to kind of necessarily be worried about, well, I mean, I guess you should be worried about, is the fact that, okay, they kind of blew their load on the S21s already, or the 21 series. Are they really setting themselves up for 2025 to already be going to the S23 or to like another generation? Like, it's just incredibly fast. And what doesn't make sense here, they make the argument for the Caspa models just because, again, there was so many people trying to get them and the advancements were good. Profitability was good, at least initially. Obviously, things dropped down. The weird part here is that these things have not been moving, especially on the retail front. Okay, S21 sales kind of were initially good because that was the initial one. Everybody was thinking, okay, I'll get this one. That way I'm future-proof for the 2025 bull market. But then the 21 Pro came, and that kind of broke a lot of people's spirits. And then the 21 XP came, not to mention all the hydro models, the immersion models. Like, there's not that many people buying these things, right? So, like, it seems like they're almost like cannibalizing themselves by releasing these things, okay? And this is not even just with this generation. This is even going back to the 19 models. Again, a lot of these made no sense. Okay, especially like the K Pros made sense, but like the S19 JXP made zero sense. They didn't even like promote that thing. It kind of came out, they tweeted about it, made a video on it, and that was pretty much it. I don't know of anybody retail wise who purchased any of these things, right? Realistically, it just didn't make sense at all. And then now an even worse release is this damn S19 Pro Plus Plus. Like, who the hell is gonna want that thing? That thing is, look at the specs real quick. 125 terahash, 3,250 watts. Okay, it's pretty bad, bro. It's at a 10-cent kilowatt hour. You're losing $1.46. And also the reason I'm saying it's bad is because it's worse than the S19 Pros. Okay, the K Pros are 23 joules a terahash. These guys are 26 joules a terahash. Why in the world would you pick up one of these things? Okay, it just doesn't make any sense. A lot of these constant, super fast, like Bitcoin ASICs don't make any sense. Okay, especially even on the retail front, like the one that like shattered any hope was the freaking release of the crazy S21 model. That hydro unit that's like 800 terahash or whatever. Like, that was ridiculous. Okay, it's 860 terahash at 11,000 watts. And they announced that deal with Minerhood, which is, it's insane. Okay, the competition is too great. There's too many things going on. And there's still a lot of competition going on, right? If Seal Miner actually releases their units, all these other manufacturers releasing their units, What's Miners, their next gens, is just a ridiculous amount of competition, and even just themselves, even just not even mentioning the competition, just Bitmain alone, right? There's so many of these units and they're all readily available. Does not seem like they're moving, and the prices aren't budging either, which is also extremely weird. You would think if the sales are stagnant, they would lower the prices, especially with all these other units, but they're remaining pretty steady until now. Finally did have a little crack, and it's just recently. It's with the S19 Pro. So they did do a deal right now where it went down to $6 a terahash. So $720 freaking dollars for the S19 Pros. Okay, and these are spot. These are shipping pretty much now within the next week or two. And this is without a coupon or anything. This is their flat out price. So you could actually legitimately order this from Bitmain and not get hit with tariffs, right? Which is something that we've never really been able to do as far as ordering an ASIC. Parts and such, yes, but they haven't really released an ASIC under that $800 MSRP until now. So the downfall, though, I wouldn't recommend it because the shipping is freaking like $350 through them. So it made it like $1,050. But I mean, in reality, it's still a pretty good deal. But if you go through a reseller, it is going to be cheaper, but some of them are going to have MOQs because it's so cheap. Like, for example, Nhash does have, at the reduced price, $9.19 for the 110s, $9.59 for the 115s, but it's an MOQ of 3, which actually might be 5. This might be a typo because down here they have an MOQ of 5, right? I mean, regardless, not something I'm super interested in, but it's like, it makes this S19 Pro Plus release even more laughable because the price is higher. And by the way, look at the MOQ on this thing. 50 units. It's like, who the hell, like, why? Like, it's, again, it doesn't make sense. It's almost like they're cannibalizing themselves. For what reason, right? My personal tinfoil hat theory is that potentially with TSMC, maybe they had an MOQ of chips they had to actually purchase and continually purchase, and that could potentially be the reason for these things, right? I literally can't think of any other reason as to why the constant releases so fast, like so aggressively, for almost no reason, right? It's one thing if WhatsMiner was one-upping them, they're ahead of them, they're ahead of the Avalons, like there's kind of no reason for this, right? Like they're having trouble even selling their current S21s and S21 Pros, so like why do a S21 Plus, right? The only thing I could think of is they're almost being forced to buy this amount of chips just to keep that contract going, to not lose their place in line at the fab possibly. Who freaking knows? But it's just extremely unappealing to see this, okay? Especially from the perspective of like a pleb, like a home miner, okay? Like, it's hard to justify spending, like, oh, you want the latest and greatest, to spend like $7K on this thing just to make $5 a day. Okay, and especially the fact that just depending on where you think BTC is going to go, potentially at the best case scenario, it's maybe a 3x, maybe going up to 200. But realistically, like my personal prediction, it's, again, I'm very bearish. I'm not the guy to go for those. My price is pegged at like $120. Okay, hopefully it goes well beyond that, but that's just what I'm prepping for. Okay, so the benefit here, though, is longevity, right? It's going to be something that's more constant. It's not something like Caspa where after next year, I definitely won't be buying that thing, right? And especially a lot of these other like altcoin ASICs and everything of that sort. So yes, it's going to be as profitable, but it's something that if you buy the latest and greatest, you could feel more confident there. But realistically, even considering that, would I go that route? No, I would probably go more for a script ASIC and be converting into BTC or converting into whatever other coin you would like, right? Which, to me, that would be the more appealing way to go about things, just with these prices, right? At least from a person with a higher electric rate, okay, being like over 10 cents, which for many other cases, that's not a bad rate, but for BTC, 10 cent kilowatt hour is extremely high. You want to be like sub 5 cents. Okay, it's extremely competitive. But again, if you're a person who has free power or is able to run one of these things on solar, I would not be going at the high end, right? Because the high end, you're paying for the efficiency. Get one of the cheaper guys, and that wouldn't be a bad gig, right? But it's just a lot of competition for me personally, being a person, especially who's limited on power. It's one thing if I had unlimited resources or if I decided to host this thing, then maybe, but at these prices, no. Like, it's too freaking weird. I mean, we'd have to see where things go and how things play out. But for me personally, my perspective, my side is more with the shit coins with the altcoin ASICs. Okay, so kind of to each their own, but just it seems really weird. Again, the only thing I can think of is that they're literally priming for a S23 release or a S21 J Pro plus left, right, up, down release next year, right? It's just, it's been a crazy, crazy time with these ASICs. It's not something that is typical. This is not something that happened last cycle or even as of a few years ago. Like, it is extremely fast to the point where, at least specifically for BTC mining, like this might be the last cycle for us little pleb miners to be mining this thing from home, period. Okay, so just if any of you guys have any or you're doing your thing right now, I personally, again, not financial advice or anything like that, but if I were in your shoes, I had any BTC ASICs, I would 100% be offloading all of them this cycle because it is not looking good after this cycle for sure. It's already not looking too hot this cycle. It is definitely the more reliable one, but definitely beyond this cycle, it's going to be an extremely tough sell unless something really drastic happens, right? It's just crazy times, bro, with BTC ASICs. Let me know, guys, in the comments. Are any of you guys mining BTC ASICs? Are any of these new things appealing? This S21 Plus, any of these other ones? Or let me know how many did you guys order? 50 of these Pro Plus Pluses, which are straight trash. Like, this is the most confusing out of all of them, right? Especially the price point is one thing, feels like 300 bucks or something, but crazy, makes zero sense. But let me know in the comments, guys, what do you guys think? Please comment, like, and subscribe, guys. Thank you for watching, and I am out.